About 20 years ago, I was a naive, young, innocent child who fell in love with a book series called Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I remember I was about Percy's age of 12 when I started reading these things, so that really allowed me to get into this story about how this young kid who's like the son of a Greek god, he's the son of Poseidon, and then he goes to Greek god summer camp. Then he goes on all these quests and adventures, and he meets a girl, they fall in love. It's his cousin. It's weird. It doesn't count though. That part doesn't matter. The point is, I love these books, and when I saw Harry Potter tearing movie after movie up, you could imagine how I felt. I was like, man, we just need that Percy Jackson movie. And then they announced it, 2010. I was wide-eyed in a theater, pretty much by myself because no one wanted to see that movie, watching Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and that movie existed. And that's pretty much how the slate of Percy Jackson live action was for a very long time. But then we fast forward to the 2020s. Percy Jackson and the Olympians is getting a Disney Plus series that Rick Riordan, who hated the movie by the way, he's gonna be hands-on. We're finally gonna get the adaptation that my childhood self wanted for all those years. That happened. I made a video about season 1, and I pretty much stand by everything I said in that video. Although there's a lot of things I like about season 1, even though they are doing a lot of things to make fans like me happy, they still don't capture the magic or the spirit the book has. And that like little dream adaptation that was in my brain for so long, at this point I'm pretty convinced that just won't happen, and I don't know if it even ever could have happened. So I've made peace with that, and I want to enjoy the show for what it is, which is going to be something else. So that's my mindset going into season 2. I'm hopeful. Maybe they're able to turn things around. Maybe my childhood isn't dead. Maybe I'll feel something again. Who knows? But anyway, 1 year has passed since the events of the Lightning Thief, and it's been a year for Percy. He's hit puberty. Hit a lot of puberty, actually. Yeah, they've had like Stranger Things levels of aging since the last season, but I will say a lot of the characters have had a bit of a glow up. I think in my last video on season 1, I really dogged on the guy playing Grover, the kid playing Grover, but now he's a guy playing Grover because he's older. And I think he's probably been the biggest improvement, because I remember that kid was not a very good actor, but now Grover, he feels like Grover. He's cracking jokes, he's a little awkward, he kind of looks like Grover a lot more to me. Annabeth is pretty much identical to how she acted in season 1, which is a little disappointing because like Annabeth is, you know, had that like rough exterior, but like she slowly gets that chipped away and she becomes like the fun Annabeth we know later in the series. I didn't really get that in this season. She's still kind of like that tough girl that's like really hard to crack. Like I think she smiles maybe once or twice throughout this whole thing. As far as the younger kids go, I think she's like potentially the best actor out of them all, but like I just don't like where they're going with the character of Annabeth. And I still feel the same way about Percy. Percy, you know, season 1, I get why he wasn't like the fun, goofy kid he's always been. Because at the beginning of the story, he's the troubled kid, right? He's very insecure about his place in the world. He's lashing out because of that. But again, Percy's development, he slowly becomes like the goofy, dorky guy that we like. And that is not the guy being betrayed in this season. He's a teenager now, and he's just kind of like a stoic, blank-faced teenager. He doesn't have a lot of personality. I know a lot of people wouldn't describe Percy Jackson as like iconic, but to me it's kind of iconic, and they do like versions of like some of the iconic jokes, and like it doesn't even feel like he's cracking a joke. It just feels like it's like a whisper in the wind. Like he's so monotone about it. It's just like, it's like, was there a joke there? And I don't have a big problem with Annabeth or Percy, but I feel like they tie into like this bigger thing I don't like about this series, which it feels like it's taking itself way too seriously. Like, imagine if instead of Hogwarts, the fun, whimsical, like, music and, like, kind of like the light colors, like, imagine if it was just, like, this more dreary, washed out, and it just had, like, a generic orchestra behind it. Like, there should be some kind of magic to this story. There should be a music that sounds like Percy Jackson, that's individualized, like, that's what Percy Jackson sounds like. Instead, we're just kind of given, like, this really generic style and sound that feels like it should be part of a drama, like a really serious drama, but it's part of this is a kids show, for God's sakes. Like the way that the episodes are titled, they're based off of these really goofy ass chapters in the books, and they just feel out of place here. And even like a lot of the big story points, like when they go to Cersei's island, this is gonna be a spoiler, I guess, but the pirates show up. Cersei has had pirates locked into her little place here, and it's literally Blackbeard and his pirates. The most goofy, dumb thing you could do. They're guinea pigs turned to pirates. And they film it like this is almost like a serious thing. It's just like, whoa, Blackbeard's here. And like, they make kind of a joke about it, but I was like, this should be the most goofy, funny, like slapstick thing all season. And they do not do it that well. Like, it's not funny. But the parts that are supposed to be taken seriously do feel like they do have weight. It does feel like the parts that are dramatic, like the part with the sirens, I think that was perfectly done. And I think all the new additions to the cast I really like. I always get his name wrong. I think he is a perfect addition. I'm almost upset he's only here for this season because I love him. I think him and Dionysus are like the perfect duo. Like if we could have had them all season, I would have been all for it. A lot of the other cast members, Tyson, the way they portrayed Tyson, I think was very perfect, which kind of sucks because they do the intro completely wrong. They skip over Percy being in school. I don't know if they just didn't want to film in a school or something, but they skip over Percy in school completely, which I feel like kind of takes away the relationship between Percy and Tyson, where like he's like protecting him from bullies and all this. But from there on out, the way they handle Tyson is pretty perfect because, you know, he gets on your nerves a little bit because he's in the way, he's a klutz, he doesn't know what he's doing, but he has a heart of gold. And I was also worried because unlike the movie where they just put sunglasses on him, he's a one-eyed cyclops this entire fucking thing. And I thought that was gonna be CGI hell, but I think they actually did a good job. I think because season 1 did so good, they put some budget behind this thing. Like when they're battling like I forget the monster whirlpool guy, whatever that thing is, they're like on a ship and there's water flying. I'm like, this is like a Hollywood film and they're getting the big budget for these kids to play Percy Jackson, which is awesome. It also upsets me because it's like we're so close, we're right there, we can't get the story right. But yeah, Tyson is great. I love what they do with Tyson. We get to see Thalia, and I don't think this is going to be a spoiler territory from here on out. Thalia, who was, you know, we knew about Thalia from the books, and then in the ending of the Sea of Monsters, it's one of my favorite parts of the entire series, because we didn't know that the fleece was going to heal Thalia to the point that she would, like, you know, emerge from the tree like the Kool-Aid Man or anything. She is just shown beforehand in a flashback, which is already like, don't like that they did that, but, you know, at least we can like really like get a sense of Thalia as like an important character before the big ending. But then we don't even get the shock like appearance, because the characters in the show are much smarter than the characters from the books. Because the books, they'll be like, who is this? Well, I don't remember Greek mythology, even though I'm from here. And in the show, there's like, nah, you're Cersei. Nah, you're this guy. And even more so, like, they figure out like, oh no, the fleece will heal Thalia. They know ahead of time. And I realized the reason that they did that is because the way the Sea of Monster ends, it's like the shortest book, and it's very much like book number 2 out of 5. Like, it doesn't have like a really meaty climax. You know, it's Polyphesis and the Cyclops stuff, and then there's like a thing with Luke, and then it's just the end. What they did here was edit things around, so Luke goes back into camp and they go and have a final battle because they're all fighting to get Thalia. Luke wants to bring her back for his own personal reason, but Kronos is trying to get her back, and they really play up the fact that Thalia could be on Luke's side or Percy's side, because I don't think I have to do spoiler for this in case you haven't seen it, but if you saw it, they changed the ending, and they even changed the backstory of Thalia to the point where they really make it seem like she could be a good guy or a bad guy. And I'm pretty sure I know where it's gonna go, but I like that new addition. I think that addition was fine for what they were doing. Them doing like a big final battle, I get it, like, and there's new stuff going on there. I just really feel robbed that we didn't get that like shock ending where it's like, whoa, who is this character? And they kind of they try to do it, but the shock is now like she's like a good guy or a bad guy. But before it was just like, whoa, like, and now that, and it's almost like Percy got like usurped as the main character, whereas this just kind of feels like, oh, this feels like the logical place to where we were going. I don't know. I just like the shock ending of the book because as like a 13-year-old, I was like, whoa, it blew my mind. And obviously we didn't get that. But I understand why they made the choices going into that. Did I even talk about Luke and Kronos? Yeah, I like, you know, we got to see like the boat. It like, it feels like a lot of the things from the story that we didn't get in the movies that we're kind of finally seeing, and it's like, whoa, okay, so like a lot of this stuff that I never got to see in live action we're finally seeing, and they're taking it seriously. Well, like, we're not just gonna skip over Luke's boat, which is a big part of the series. We're not gonna skip over like the Cersei part. We're not gonna skip over this, that. And I feel like for the most part, like as far as story beats go and a lot of these things, that's why I'm conflicted about this series, because as far as story and like bullet points go, they hit 90% of the things. Like, oh, I don't know why episode 1 they always fuck up. Like the beginning of the Lightning Thief, I feel like they fucked up. The beginning of the Sea of Monsters, I feel like they just speed through it, and that way they can have more time for like the big adventure stuff. And I get that, but we're barely ever in camp. Like, why can't we hang out in camp more? Like, we get the chariot stuff in this one, but I don't know. Oh, I didn't even talk about Clarice. Holy shit. Yeah, Clarice. Another big glow up. And the way I feel about Clarice, she in the books is kind of like your butchy, like very rough and tough girl. And the first time I see Clarice in this season, she looks like the most like child actor, like perfect makeup. She looks like a supermodel. And that is not who Clarice is. But as long as she's like a tough girl with like, you know, a lot of weight on her shoulders, they can do her right. And that's pretty much what we got here. They were able to capture a lot of what made Clarice great. And she's a very interesting character. She's one of the best parts of the season. It's her quest at the end of the day, and they honor that. They give her time to shine. And she gets like a moment with Edge, Ares. He comes back. They make a stupid joke about like her warriors because they're all like dead soldiers, and they have a guy from Blockbuster. Like, this is obviously not in the books because it's like from a different time period. They milk that joke for all it's worth, but it's like even jokes like that, they don't seem to be able to like, even when it's like written in the story, it's like the actual dialogue and the punchlines. Again, it's just like the style of the show. The way it looks and sounds and is paced, like there's no room for levity, and half of this story is levity. It should be a fun, whimsical adventure with like big dramatic moments, and I feel like it just takes itself so seriously. The music, I think, is holding this thing back immensely, and the pacing and the way it's filmed, the cinematography, I should say. I feel like if there was a re-edit to this and we went back into the editing room and redid things, and a couple of the performances like we redid to have more fun, I think the show would be twice as better, if not more. But that's just how I feel about it. I apologize if this video is a lot more word vomity and I'm going all over the place. I didn't script this one. I just wanted to throw my thoughts out there, get them out there, you know. Because this story does have so much weight on my childhood, and it feels like a lot of my childhood like things are being adapted or changed. And I want to go along with the tide. Like, I want to enjoy them, but like I just feel like I'm always being held back. I always feel like they're doing something wrong, and there's always like things that could be better, and I don't want to nitpick, but like that's where my heart is. Like, if you're a kid who just read the books, you might love this show. If you don't know what Percy Jackson even is, you might find it like a charming enough show. But I feel like for even casuals or people who haven't even read the book. It does feel like there's like a miscommunication from the actual plot points and the actual like events happening on screen, where again, the titles of the episode, the actual plot points being very silly, and then the show taking itself so seriously. At least that's how I feel about season 2 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. What are your thoughts if you've seen Percy Jackson? Let me know in the comments down below. Did you like season 2? Did you like season 1? Maybe you're a big hater, or maybe you fall somewhere in between like me. I do continue to enjoy it. I'm just also disappointed at the same time, and that's basically how I feel. Anyway, thank you for watching. As always, hit the hype button if you want my little channel to do bigger numbers, and until next time, with that, I leave you.